الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وبعد. So we're on chapter 134. Tonight we're only doing Adab al-Mufrad because we're invited out for dinner, so we're going to finish this and pray Salat al-Isha pretty much on time tonight. So we'll do this. We'll take two hadiths, take some questions, and then we're rolling out, inshallah. All right. So this is chapter 134. Bab al-Mizahi ma'as-Sabi. So this is joking around, because obviously these are all chapters on what's permissible with joking, right? So this is the chapter on joking around with a young child. All right. So this is hadith number 269. All right. حدثنا آدم قال حدثنا شعبة قال حدثنا أبو التياح قال سمعت أنس بن مالك رضي الله عنه يقول كان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم لا يخالطنا حتى يقول لأخ لي صغير يا أبا عمير ما فعل النغير متفق عليه. So here Anas ibn Malik رضي الله عنه, he said that the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم used to mix with us until حتى يقول لأخ لي صغير, until he would say to a younger brother of mine, Ya Abu Umair. That's his, he gave him, this is his kunya. Ya Abu Umair, ma fa'ala al-Nughayr. Al-Nughayr is a tasghir. Alright, and it means that it's a small bird. It's a small bird, because the boy, he had a bird that he always had with him, and the bird died. And then like the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in the manner of trying to cheer him up, he would, he went and was joking around with him in a manner of trying to cheer him up. So he said, this is why he went to him and he said to him, Ya Abu Umair, ma fa'ala al-Nughayr. What did the small bird do? And it just, like I said, so it goes to show the permissibility of even joking around with children at the level, obviously, that they can understand. This hadith is in Bukhari and Muslim, so it's muttafaqun alayh, and it's authentic. Alright, and we're going to see the next hadith, which is a hadith that we've already taken, but we'll go ahead and read it again, because it's going to be a different chain and different narration. Still ضعيف though. Alright, so hadith number 270. حدثنا ابن سلام قال حدثنا وكيع عن معاوية ابن أبي مزرد عن أبيه. Alright, so the father of Muawiyah ibn Abi Muzarrad, his name is Abdul Rahman ibn Yasar, and he's majhul. لا يروي إلا عن ابنه. لا يروي عنه سوى ابنه. So the only person that narrates from him is his son. That's it. Nobody else. So he's majhul, and this hadith is ضعيف. And we've already gone over the same illah before. Alright, عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه قال أخذ النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم بيد الحسن أو الحسين. So that the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم took the hand of either Al-Hasan or Hussein رضي الله عنهما ثم وضع قدميه على قدميه, and he put his foot on his foot. ثم قال ترقى. He said ترقى means what? Yeah, climb up. He's just telling them climb up in a playful manner. All right. So I said the hadith is da'if. Well, we spoke about this the last time when we mentioned this hadith. About the Prophet ﷺ being in salat, and they would climb on his back, and he would stay down in sujood for longer just because they would, one of the children was on his back. So this is his mannerism. As we see in the first one, this is his, to joke around with the children, and to be lighthearted with the children, not to be, obviously serious and commander of an army. So that's how he was. He was lighthearted with his companions. He was lighthearted with the believers, but he was serious when people went against the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When people went against the commands of Allah, then that's a whole different story. That's a whole different story. Because as we know the hadith of Aisha, that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that he never ever got revenge for somebody for himself. وَلَكِنْ إِذَا أَنْتُهِكَ حُرَمَةُ اللَّهِ أَنْتَقَمْ لِذَلِكَ. That he would get, he would take with the rights of Islam if the people went against the commands and prohibitions of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But he would never do that take revenge for himself, for the people insulting him, for the people speaking about him. But if the people went against the Deen, then he would take the rights of the Deen, So I mean, this is the patience of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Obviously, that we have to learn to have, because as long as we will remain on this path, trying to seek knowledge, the path of seeking knowledge has never been easy. It's never been easy, and it never will be. If it was easy, then what? Everybody would do it. But the thing is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He puts us through these trials and tribulations to single out the people who He's gonna give this blessing to, and who He's gonna stay with. And we know from the ayat that we constantly repeat over and over, and we have to constantly repeat it because we see it every time. The hadith and the ayat in Surah Al-Ankabut, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Alif Lam Mim, حَسِبَ النَّاسُ أَن يُتْرَكُوا أَن يَقُولُوا آمَنَّا وَهُمْ لَا يُفْتَنُونَ وَلَقَدْ فَتَنَّا الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِهِمْ فَلَيَعْلَمَنَّ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ صَدَقُوا وَلَيَعْلَمَنَّ الْكَاذِبِينَ. So here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Alif Lam Mim, حَسِبَ النَّاسِ, that the people think, that they assume, because this is like an assumption. Because adhan, حَسِبَ النَّاسِ, it has the meaning of what? Adhan. And dhan, as we understand, when it comes in the Quran, it comes under the meaning of like an assumption, either a false assumption, or it comes under the meaning of what? Yaqeen. And an example of it coming on, yaqeen is like what?
الذين يظنون أنهم
ملاقو ربهم يظنون. Because in here is tayaqqanu. This is yaqeen. This is not dhan that they have any doubt with. But this type of dhan, hasib al-nas, this is an inkar. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is making inkar on this dhan, that they think that they're going to just say that I believe, and that they're going to be left alone, and they're not going to be tested, and their belief is not going to be tested. حَسِبَ النَّاسُ أَن يُتْرَكُوا أَن يَقُولُوا آمَنَّا وَهُمْ لَا يُفْتَنُونَ. And then after that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala clarified. He said, وَلَقَدْ فَتَنَّا. So here we have what? وَلَقَدْ. لَقَدْ. So فَتَنَّا الَّذِينَ. So here we have the lam, في الجواب الهدف, we have قد, which is tahqiq. Then we have فَتَنَّا with what? Nuna tawqeed. So it's like no doubt that this is what took place, and it's going to continue to take place. وَلَقَدْ فَتَنَّا الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِهِمْ. That we've tested all the people that went before you. فَلَيَعْلَمَنَّ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ صَدَقُوا. So that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can see those that are truthful. That because He's going to bring out the truthful ones. وَلَيَعْلَمَنَّ الْكَاذِبِينَ. And the people that are liars. So the liars, of course, they are the people that do the opposite. They're the causers of the fitna. They are the people that are, you see, where the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was tested, and his companions were tested. They were tested with hunger, with poverty, with sickness, with insults and oppression and transgression against themselves, and to the point where they had to leave Mecca. And then the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and this was the most beloved balad to the Prophet. And what did the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam say about Mecca? أحب البقع is أحب البلاد أحب البقع. Okay, so let's go with the narration أحب البلاد إليه. He said that verily you are the most beloved of all lands to me. Finish it.
ولولا أن قومك أخرجوك مني ما خرجت.
Yeah, and ولولا, no, I don't think it's قومي. ولولا أن قومي أخرجني منك ما خرجت. Or lam akhruj. Look at we'll get it. We'll do it later, inshallah. So he said, and if it weren't for my people driving me out, he said, I would have never left you. So this is the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the greatest of all creation. And we look at the trials and tribulations that he had to go through. So he was from the Sadiqeen, and his companions from the Sadiqeen, because they're the ones that every time that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tested them, they stood firm. They returned back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They put their trust in Allah. They were patient with all the lies of the people, all the slandering of the people, all the oppression of the people. They were patient with this. And Allah raised them. And Allah debased the people that were spreading the lies, spreading the rumors, spreading the slander, and this is why the people, and it's difficult when you're in the middle of the fire, to realize that, to be patient. Because emotions get involved, sadness gets involved. You start to feel like your whole world is collapsing on you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so But that's why you just have to understand that the thing that should cheer you up is that you know that this is what all of the prophets went before. All of the prophets that went before, they went through the same thing. And every single person who calls to this deen, he's going to go through the same thing. When the Prophet ﷺ went with Khadijah to Waraqa ibn Nawfal, what did he say to him? He said, ليت لي جزعا ليت أكون حيا إذ أخرجوك قومك حتى أخرجوك قومك, or something, the meaning, I mean, check the wording, it's in the beginning of Bukhari. He said, you know, oh, if I was only young and strong again, and I could be alive when your people run you out, huh?
It's in the book.
Oh, yeah, because I mean, we read it too. And you know, because at that time, Waraqa ibn Nawfal, he was old. So he said, oh, if I could just be young again and be strong again, so I can be there when your people run you out. And what did the Prophet ﷺ, he said, he was surprised. Al-Mukhrijiyahum. You know, are they going to run me out? The Prophet, because he was beloved with them. He was a person who was known for honesty. He was a person who was, they termed Al-Amin. You know, so he was the person that they entrusted, with their affairs. They came up to him and, so he was surprised. He said, Al-Mukhrijiyahum. Are they going to run me out? And he said, what did Waraqa say? He said, nobody. La had ja'a billadhi jitta bi illa udhi. You know, he said, nobody ever came with what you came, with what you're coming with, except for he was harmed by the people. So that's the Prophet ﷺ. And the same thing, if you want to continue practicing this deen, and you want to continue calling to the sunnah, then you have to prepare yourself for all types of trials and tribulations. But be patient. Because in the aqibah is always going to be for the muttaqeen. Always. It's always going to be for the people of taqwa. The people of taqwa, they always have to go through what they have to go through. Wallahi, we watched, I mean, if we had to go through history, first, we would forget what we watched in our time. But if we had to look through history, and we look at what the Sahaba went through, Abu Bakr during his Khilafah, what he went through with the people of Ridda, Umar, what he went through, Aisha, what she went through with the people claiming it, making that false claim against her, and making that ifk, the slandering the wife of the Prophet, but that's also what the Prophet had to be patient with. Then we look at, even after that, look at the people that came after them, that followed in the same path. Imam Malik, what he had to go through. Imam Ahmed, what he had to go through. Imam al-Bukhari went to Naysabur, and go read about the fitna that happened with Bukhari and Naysabur and the lies that they spread against him because of the jealousy. Because all they wanted to do was to get the ulama of Naysabur to hate him. And they spread lies about him just to do that, and to the point that Bukhari had to leave Naysabur. Had to leave. And that was the belly that Muslim was in at the time. And he had to leave. And Muslim couldn't do anything because he was not in the state to defend him, even though he knew that Bukhari was on the hop. But look at what they had to go through. Look at Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah. Look at Imam Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab with his dawah, going from place to place and being, go away, we want nothing to do with you. Until finally Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him the nasr, and gave him something that would back, somebody that had that power, that had the quwwah, that had the money, and had the resources to back his dawah up. So just know that these are the things that we're going to have to go through. It's not going to, and nobody ever said it's going to be easy. And nobody ever said it's going to remain easy. It's going to get harder and harder and harder as the times go on, because the times get worse and worse and worse. The hadith in Anas ibn Malik, what did he say? When the people came to Anas and they were like, يشتكون al-Hajjaj. And they were complaining about al-Hajjaj because he was the biggest oppressive ruler at that time. Killing whoever. Anybody that disagreed with him, he would just snipe their head off. You understand? So when they came to him and they wanted to, get a fatwa from Anas ibn Malik to make khuruj. They really wanted to make khuruj, but they wanted to see what he would say, because he's Sahabi. What are you going to say about the situation? So they complained to Anas ibn Malik. And he told him, he said, Isbiru. He said, because لا يأتي على الناس زمان إلا والذي بعده شر منه حتى تلقوا ربكم سمعته من نبيكم صلى الله عليه وسلم. He said, be patient. He said, because there's not going to come a time, with the people, except for that the time that comes after it is going to be more evil than the time that came before it. And it's going to continue on like this until you meet your Lord. He said, this I heard from your Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So this is it. It's not going to get any easier. And as we get closer and closer to the time of the Dajjal, we're getting to that time where the Prophet ﷺ, it said, "Al-qa'im ala dinihi kal-qabid ala jamr." That the person who stands up and carries out he's trying to be on istiqamah, he's trying to do the things that he's supposed to do as a Muslim. He said it's like holding on to like a hot coal. A hot coal, you imagine that, a fiery hot coal, it's red, it's already, could you imagine putting that in the palm of your hand and trying to hold on to that? But everything is stacked against us. Everything is stacked against us. Everything. Shaitan has everybody ready to go against anybody that calls to the Sunnah. So don't be saddened by anything that happens. Be patient, because wallahi, the aqibah and the end is always going to be for the people of taqwa. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to protect this deen. It's not with us. We're not protecting nothing. We are just living in this beautiful blessing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us. And that's it. That's all we have. So if Allah protects us, protects this deen through us, like uses us as a means to protect this deen, what a beautiful ni'mah. Because imagine all the people that Shaitan is using them to do what? Protect kufr. Shaitan is using them to protect sins and call to sins and call to like foolish behavior. But Allah uses you and raises you up to carry out, this beautiful thing, to call to the Sunnah. What a blessing. Seriously. What a huge blessing, wallahi. And if you knew that this is what Allah wanted for you, and you knew that to die on this Sunnah, that you had to stand up against every single human being in the entire earth, and face them, wouldn't you be ready to do it? If you knew? So it's a promise from Allah. Something that Allah promised. So we have to stand up, and we have to stand up against all of mankind and continue to call to the Sunnah. Let them call us names. Let them slander us. Let them do whatever they want. We're here for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We're not here for the pleasing of the people. We're here because you look at that hadith. The hadith where the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, إِذَا حَبَّ اللَّهُ عَبْدٍ نَادَى جِبْرِيلٌ إِنِّي أَحِبُّ فُلَانًا فَأَحْبِبْهُ. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he says, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves a servant, that he calls to Jibril, and he said, "Oh Jibril, I love this servant, so you love him also." فَيُنَادِي جِبْرِيلُ فِي أَهْلِ السَّمَاءِ. And then Jibril calls to the people of the Sama, all the malaika in the Sama. And he said, إِنَّ اللَّهَ يَحِبُّ فُلَانًا فَأَحِبُّهُ. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves this person, so all of you love him too. فَيَحِبُّهُ أَهْلُ السَّمَاءِ. And then the people in the Sama, all of the angels love him also. فَيُوضَعُ لَهُ الْقُبُولُ فِي الْأَرْضِ. And then acceptance is given to him with the people of khayr in the earth. That's what we strive for. We don't strive for the people can never give us that. Wallahi, the people can never, ever, ever give us that. Now, the people can never give us the sweetness of Iman in the heart. The sweetness of the, when you pray and you're really in the salat, or you're reading the Quran and you really understand what's going on, and you hit that ayat, and it shakes your heart so bad that tears start pouring out of your eyes. The people can never give you that. They can never give you this deen. They can never give you the sweetness of Iman. All of that comes from Allah. So no matter what the people say, from this day forward, no matter what they do not concern yourself. It's not our concern. They're going to lie, and may Allah destroy them. They're going to slander, may Allah destroy them. And they're going to continue to try to do anything to stop this da'wah. May Allah flip all of their affairs on their heads. May Allah turn everything, every one of their affairs upside down until they don't know which side is left and which side is right. May Allah destroy them, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make them enemies of each other. May Allah yajal ba'sahum bainahum. This is the reality. We have dua, and we seek the pleasure of Allah. So that's what you need to continue doing. Because the beauty, the sweetness of this life, and the thing that you can truly get out of this life, what did the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam say? He said, "Ala in the dunya mal'unatun mal'un ma fiha, illa dhikrullahi wa ma walahu, wa aliman wa muta'alliman." So here the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said in the hadith, he said, "Ala in the dunya mal'una," that this dunya, this whole world, is cursed. Mal'un ma fiha, and everything within it is cursed. And then he said, illa. So here he made an exception. So we want to live with the exception. We don't want to live with the curse. We want to seek the exception. So what was the exception? Illa dhikrullahi wa ma walahu. So dhikrullahi, the Quran, Sunnah, learning the Deen, and wa ma walahu, and all the righteous actions that come with that. When you read the Quran and you understand the commands and you understand the prohibitions, so all the righteous actions that come with that. Then he said, wa aliman wa muta'aliman. And he said, a person who is teaching the people the Deen and a person who is a student and he's trying to learn this Deen. Everything else other than those things is all cursed. So we want to be with the blessings. We don't want to be with the curse. And as long as we're with the blessing, what do you think the people who are living in the curse, what do you think they're going to do? You think they're going to shake our hands? No, they're going to spread lies. They're going to spread slander. They're going to make up things. They're going to do anything just to dirty up a person's reputation and just whatever. So don't be concerned with that. Because wallahi, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives you life and you're going to see what happens to those people. I've seen it over and over and over and over again. And if you live long enough, you're going to see it. They're not going to die. If they don't make tawbah, they're not going to die happy. And they're not going to live happy. You're not going to sit here and, start making lies against Muslims and slandering Muslims and think that you're going to live a life of happiness and a life of ease. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going, مَنْ أَعْرَضَ عَنْ ذِكْرِي فَإِنَّ لَهُ مَعِيشَةً ضَنْكًا. And whoever goes against and turns away from my remembrance, what? This is what Allah said. Whoever turns away from the remembrance of Allah, فَإِنَّ لَهُ مَعِيشَةً ضَنْكًا. That he's going to have a very restricted and narrow life. And there's not going to be any barakah in his life. The barakah, it comes from Allah. And it comes through obedience to Allah. وَاتَّأَذَّنَ رَبُّكُمْ لَإِن شَكَرَتُمْ لَأَزِيدَنَّكُمْ وَلَإِن كَفَرَتُمْ إِنَّ عَذَابِي لَشَدِيدٌ. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala announces to the people, if you're grateful, لَأَزِيدَنَّكُمْ, that I will increase you. I will increase you in iman, increase you in knowledge, increase you in righteous actions, increase you in everything that you need to get closer to Allah. وَلَإِن كَفَرَتُمْ, but if you act with ingratitude, فَإِنَّ عَذَابِي لَشَدِيدٌ. إِنَّ عَذَابِي لَشَدِيدٌ. That my punishment is very severe for those people. So there's nothing worse than having a ni'mah, a blessing with you, and then having that blessing being taken away because of ingratitude. And that is a huge punishment in the life of this world. And this is the punishment of this life. The punishment in this life is that the blessing is taken away from you. The punishment in the next life is that you have to go to the hellfire and be punished in the hellfire for your misuse of that blessing. So just, Allah musta'an, be patient. All the people that want to follow the sunnah, they have to go through this on a daily basis. We hear these stories. The brothers tell the stories. Brothers from New York, brothers from Texas, brothers from Jacksonville, brothers from all over the place that have had to go through all of these problems in the masajid with the people lying and people slandering, people saying, oh, he's calling to extremism because why? Because you're telling them that interest is haram, and you're telling them that selling alcohol is haram, and you're telling them that opening a smoke shop is haram, and this is where they got all their money at. This is where they're invested at, and they don't want to hear that things are haram. Who cares? This is what we have to go through. Then let us go through. But be patient. Be patient, because everybody that ever stood up and called to this deen, they had to go through. Look at like what Sheikh Al-Albani would have had to go through in his time. Look at Sheikh Mubil, rahimahumullah, and what they both had to go through to establish what they established. It wasn't established with help and assistance and ease. They were both kicked out of the place where they were studying. Twice, Sheikh Al-Albani 2 times. And he was kicked out of more than one place trying to, establish it. And even when he was in his final place, which was Jordan, they wanted to kick him out of there too. So it's like, look at the situation.
It's normal to be kicked out at this point.
Huh?
Being kicked out is the sunnah from the juhad.
No, it's the sunnah.
The
The Prophet had to leave his belly, so khalas. You see that, like I said, everybody, like I said, Al-Imam al-Bukhari set up in Nisabur and had to leave because of the fitna with the people, because of the lies that were being spread about him, things that he didn't even say. And in fact, he wrote a whole entire book, compiling all the hadith about the khalq al-af'al, which means that the actions of the servant are created, to show that he didn't say what they were accusing him of saying, but this is what happens. So this is the path of the messengers from all before. And that's the path that we want to follow. We're not trying to follow the path of Iblis. We're not trying to follow that path. But there are the vast majority of the people in the world, that's what they follow. And that's what they're gonna get behind. And then they're gonna go against any type of good. So you just have to be patient. All the people that want to follow the Sunnah, you just have to be patient. But no, you got the most valuable thing. The most valuable thing. What did Ibrahim ibn, I believe it was Ibrahim ibn Adham, rahimahullah, I believe he's the one that made the statement, but you can check it online. He said, لو عارفوا الملوك وأبناء الملوك ما نحن فيه لجالدونا عليه بالسيوف. Check it, see if it's Ibrahim ibn Adham that said it. He said if the kings and the sons of the kings knew what we had, and what do we have? We don't possess land. We don't have wealth. We don't have anything. What do we have? Huh? This deen, but this deen, what does it make you? It makes you not want anything that they have. You're not concerned with what they have. This dunya is nothing to you. It's a speck of dust in your eyes. You don't care about it. Because the Prophet ﷺ said in the hadith, what did he say? He said, إِنَّ الْغِنَى غِنَى نَفْسِ. He said the real richness and the real, treasure and the real, being rich is the richness of the soul, of the heart, of the self. That you put your trust in Allah, and you know that everything that you have is going to come from Allah, and everything that you don't have, Allah didn't write it for you, and you're pleased with that. That's the real richness, and that brings the person to that iman and that righteous actions and all that. So if the kings and the sons of the kings knew this and knew this, that what we had, and really understood what we had, they would fight us with their swords to get it from us. But they're too concerned with the dunya. You find it.
No. I mean,
it only takes 1 second. All you got to do is just type in what I say. Lo araf al-muluk wa abna' al-muluk.
This is what I put. I'm not sure if this website's authentic, but it's called Ibrahim ibn Adham.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Ibrahim ibn is it al-Adham or Adham?
Ibrahim ibn Adham.
Ibn Adham. All right. Yeah, just making sure. I was almost 75-80% sure he was the one that said that statement. All right, so yeah, and that's it. We just gotta keep it moving. Keep it moving. What was the statement of Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah that I used to always repeat? No, not the ta'rif of ibadah. That's pertaining to this situation.
It was I didn't memorize that Arabic.
إن في الدنيا جنة.
Not this one. I was talking
about
إن
في الدنيا جنتان. Because it's إن في الدنيا جنتان من لا يدخلها لا يدخل جنة الآخرة. He said that in the life of this world, that there is a Jannah. There is this paradise in the life of this world. He said, whoever does not enter into this paradise in this life, he will not enter into that paradise in the next life. And wallahi, I don't see that Jannah in this life except for being through knowledge and righteous actions. Knowledge and righteous actions. There's nothing on this earth that can account. Wallahi, I have sat there in Saudi Arabia and I've eaten with princes, and eaten with even one of the sons of King, what's his name, King Fahd, and I've eaten with them, and I have never ever in my lifetime cared about anything that they had, because their dunya should not interest us, and they never had anything to offer other than what? Money, dunya, that's it. If the person, and then I look to the opposite of sitting with the ulama. Sitting with Sheikh Yahya, sitting with Sheikh Salih Fawzan, sitting with Sheikh Abdul Salam al-Shuwair, sitting with Sheikh, who else? I only sat with Hussein one time.
Abdul Muhsin al-Abbad.
I didn't sit with Sheikh Abdul Muhsin. But Abdullah
al-Hudayfi. No, Sheikh al-Hudayfi.
I didn't sit with him. The point is like the ulama and what they have to offer is way more beneficial, and I always had way more respect. I could sit there and talk in the presence of these princes. I never cared about them, but I get nervous every time that I talk to Sheikh Yahya. Every time my hands start shaking, because of the type of respect that I have for that man. Because I've watched him for years and years and years, watched him on a daily basis. For those years that I was in Damascus, watched him. And that man is a man of ibadah. He never, never relented. He's not like me. I'm not like him. He'd never miss a class. There would never be a class canceled. During the war, the classes stayed going. All the way up until the president told him, you have to leave Damascus tomorrow. And he's still teaching the classes all the way up until the last minute. He used to teach the classes with IVs in his arm, with an IV in his arm. He used to teach the class when he was sick, when he didn't have food, when his house was being bombed, he was teaching the class. So, when he was being shot at, he was teaching the class. When people were trying to kill him, he's teaching the class. So, and he always prayed every single salat in the masjid. Always. He's always in the masjid. And in fact, if you go to the first adhan, you're going to see him in the masjid with the mushaf open. Every single day for I don't know how many decades this has been and look at what they have to go through. That's what we want. But to get to that level, you have to go through what he went through. And then what he had to go through is what his sheikh went through. And his sheikh went through all the way back to the Prophet, all the way back to all the Anbiya. Look at Ibrahim. He got ran out from his own people, thrown in the fire by his own people with his father. His father. You understand? Like his father was a part of the people that took him up and tossed him in the fire. And then he had to leave. Musa, raised up in the house of Fir'aun. And he had to leave. Khaif and mutaraka. Out of fear and being watchful, because he didn't know what was going to happen to him. Musa alayhi salam. These are the ulul azm, Look at what they went through. Look at Isa alayhi salam, his mother, and the accusations against her, and then all the stuff that he had to go through. Allah musta'an. This is the reality. And as long as we stay on this path, we just have to accept that. And in fact, if we're on this path and the people aren't slandering us, they're not talking about us, we should actually start to think like, hey man, what's going on?
Oh, yeah.
What's going on? Why is everything so good? Why is everybody so nice to me? Why, and not saying that you should go out and, earn the ire of the people. You shouldn't. You should just go and teach the truth. You should teach the truth. You should teach the people what they need to hear. Not what they want to hear, but what they need to hear. وَلَا تَخَافُوا فِي اللَّهِ لَوْمَةَ اللَّهِ. Just like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, He said, and I'll end this talk with this and then we'll get to the questions. He said, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمِنُوا مَنْ يَرْتَدَّ مِنْكُمْ عَنْ دِينِهِ فَسَوْفَ يَأْتِي اللَّهُ بِقَوْمٍ يُحِبُّهُمْ وَيُحِبُّونَهُ أَذِلَّةٍ عَلَى الْمُؤْمِنِينَ أَعِزَّةٍ عَلَى الْكَافِرِينَ يُجَاهِدُونَ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ وَلَا يَخَافُونَ لَوْمَةَ لَائِمٍ ذَلِكَ فَضْلُ اللَّهِ يُؤْتِيهِ مَن يَشَاءُ وَاللَّهُ وَاسِعٌ عَلِيمٌ. Alright, so here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, He said, "O you who believe, مَن يَرْتَدَّ مِنْكُمْ, whoever turns away from his deen." Radda here obviously means to what? To leave the deen. He leaves gratitude, he leaves the practice of the deen, he leaves the true understanding of the deen. So whoever turns back and turns away from this deen, فَسَوْفَ يَأْتِي اللَّهُ بِقَوْمٍ, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will come with another people. He will replace you with other people. يُحِبُّهُمْ وَيُحِبُّونَهُ, that He loves them and they love Him. And that they love Him through His obedience. That they're going to be obedient to Allah. They're going to carry out His commands. They're going to stay away from His prohibitions. They're going to do the things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told them and His messenger told them. They're going to carry those things out. And then He described these people. أَذِلَّةٍ عَلَى الْمُؤْمِنِينَ, that they're very humble and weak with the believers. They don't get arrogant with the believers. They don't get aggressive with the believers. They don't yell and shout with the believers. أَذِلَّةٍ عَلَى الْمُؤْمِنِينَ, that they're very weak and humble with the believers. أَعِزَّةٍ عَلَى الْكَافِرِينَ, but they're very mighty with the disbelievers. They show their strength with the disbelievers. يُجَاهِدُونَ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ, and they fight in the path of Allah. وَلَا يَخَافُونَ فِي اللَّهِ لَوْمَةَ لَائِمٍ, and they don't fear anything that the people, all these low life type loser people, what they say about them. They don't fear any of this. They don't fear the censuring. They don't fear the slandering and the lies and all. They keep doing what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has commanded them to do, and they don't fear any of this. They don't fear what the people say about them. He said, ذَلِكَ فَضْلُ اللَّهِ يُؤْتِيهِ مَن يَشَاءُ, and this is the bounty of Allah that He gives to whoever He pleases. وَاللَّهُ وَاسِعٌ عَلِيمٌ, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is vast in His bounties and His giving, and alim, and knowledgeable about who deserves it and where he puts it. So he has knowledge. I mean, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows who he gives this to. He's going to give it to the people who do right with it. And if you don't do right with it, then he takes it away from you and gives it to somebody else. And it's your loss. It's your loss. It's not, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loses nothing. You know, Allah understands.
You mentioned Musa and Ibrahim, especially Nabiullah Ibrahim. You know, when things got hard for him, both Musa and Ibrahim, what they did is al-firaru ila Allah. You know, like when Ibrahim, when things got hard for him, he said, Inni dhahibun ila Rabbi sayahdeen. And then even Musa alayhi salam, he said, you know, قال كلا إن معي ربي سيهدين. So they both ran to Tawheed. Hamid says, if there's two classes happening in places nearby, how should we choose which one to go to?
Choose the one that you need. Choose the one that's most important for you, what you need. Like, for example, if one person's teaching Kitab Tawheed and one person's teaching Usul al-Fiqh, right? What are you going to choose? If you need Tawheed, then that's what you need. That's what you go to. Oh, I want to study Usul al-Fiqh, but you're weak in Tawheed. Go study Tawheed. You got to study what you need. Yeah. Now, if they're both teaching Kitab Tawheed, then choose the teacher that's the best teacher, the one that you understand, the one that you jive with the most, you know. Because if you have a respect for a person, you know, and admiration for a person, you're more than likely going to benefit more from that person than a person that you don't really care about. But you need the class, right? You need the class, but you don't really care about the teacher. Obviously, the person that you have respect for, you look up to, is going to be somebody that you learn more from. You know?
Also, the Prophet ﷺ, when they were in the Ghar, Allah made mention of it in Surah Tawbah, when things got hard for Abu Bakr, and for the Prophet ﷺ said, لا تحزن إن الله معنا.
I mean, it came in the hadith in Bukhari. He said, you know, كنا في الغار فقال يعني والمشركون فوق رؤوسنا لو نظر قال يا رسول الله لو أن أحدهم نظر تحت قدميه لأبصرنا. So Abu Bakr said when they were in the cave, because they went down, they were standing right there. And the kuffar, they were standing right here above their heads, like literally, right above their heads. So Abu Bakr said, you know, O Messenger of Allah, if only one of them would just to look down at his foot, they would see us. Alright, they would see us. And then the Prophet ﷺ told Abu Bakr, he said, what? And he said, Ya Abu Bakr, ma balu ithnain, Allahu thalithuhuma. You know, what do you think about two people and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the third? That Allah is going to protect them. And they never looked. They never looked down at their feet. They looked around, and they left. This hadith in Sahih Bukhari is a refutation of what story?
There's a refutation for the famous weak da'if of there was.
No, it's not. I don't even know if it's even a narration.
Sheikh al-Albani.
No, I know it's da'if, but I'm saying, is it even a hadith?
No, it's hadith. Okay. Sheikh al-Albani said it's hadith. He's da'if.
Yeah, there's a spider.
Yeah, there was a spider web.
Like they came to the door of the cave, and the spider weaved a web, and then they saw the spider web. No, they were in the cave. They were like standing right above the head of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Abu Bakr, and all they had to do was just look down.
Also, Sheikh Mufrad too said it was da'if too.
No, all the ulama of hadith said it's da'if. So, go ahead.
Striving Slave says, when you mentioned that people here wouldn't be patient with the Sunnah of Surah Insan and Surah Sajda in Fajr prayer on Friday.
Surah Sajda and Surah Insan. You pray Surah Sajda in the first rak'ah.
Does that mean one shouldn't do that Sunnah if it's too heavy on the people at the moment?
No.
Let them go to Universal Studios or Rose Place where they have to wait in line for 2 hours.
I was in a hurry to answer the question. The water went down the wrong
tube.
But anyways, there was nobody that prayed like khaf salat than the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam prayed a khaf wa atam salat, the lightest but the most complete salat. So this is his sunnah. This is his guidance. And that's what we do. You know, the people, they need to step up their game. We don't dumb the religion down for people. You know, because this religion is supposed to raise people up, not keep them comfortable where they're at. And this is the problem nowadays. The problem nowadays is that the people, they want to like manipulate the religion and change the religion to fit their lifestyle so they can stay where they're at. That's not what this deen is about. This deen is always like, you know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He gives you this deen and you start doing right with this deen, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala raises you up. He's raised up so many nations, so many people out of like, you know, poverty, out of captivity, out of all different types of difficulties, that this deen raised these people up. Raised them up and made them, you know, and raised them up above all of the people, where the people look up to them. And that's what it is. We don't want to water the religion down. If the Prophet ﷺ did this, well, was he not merciful to the people? He was the most merciful to the people. And this is his sunnah. We don't leave this for anybody. We don't leave this for anybody, you know. So, I mean, you make things easy for the people, and the Prophet made things easy for the people, and that's easy. My 10-year-old son has come on Friday, Esed, and prayed this on a regular basis. I mean, on more than one occasion. He sat here and prayed on Friday at Fajr, Surah Al-Sajda and Surah Al-Ihsan. You telling me my 10-year-old son can do it, but grown men can't do it? And you know, little children, they're like, you know, this is too long. You know, Baba, can you keep it short? You know, but that's it. He does it. He knows. He knows when it's Friday. He knows what he's, you know, even when he goes to the masjid on Friday and at Fajr, he knows what he's gonna have to go through. So come on, man. I mean, if I see a 10-year-old boy do it, and forget that. We sat here in Ramadan, and the last 10 nights, one night, we prayed 20 pages a rak'ah. And we had two brothers here, Jeremiah and his brother. And Jeremiah and his brother do not speak Arabic. They don't understand Arabic. Boy, they stood up the whole night. Akhi, I was like, man, you two are my heroes. My heroes. These brothers stood up the whole night. You know, they were falling like flies. Hamza and the crew, they were like, I gotta go sit down. I gotta take it.
I had work and stuff. I had a lot of stuff to do.
You weren't working back in those days.
I like working at the college.
Yeah, the school, but these two brothers, I mean, they stood up 20 pages the whole night. You know, I don't think we did 20 for like, because I think we shortened the last one to like 10.
No, one time we stood up, we read 40 pages in one rak'ah. No,
it was 20.
It was 20, it wasn't 40.
No, it was 40 in two rak'ahs.
Okay, 40.
We read a juz every single rak'ah. And that's what I'm saying. Those brothers stood up and did it. You know, so I mean...
But we only sat down. I only sat down for... Like a day, only 1.5. That's it.
Man, all you gotta do is go back to that video. It's on my page.
Hey, yeah, go ahead.
The video where it's like the advice in Ramadan, remember? And I stopped and I said, y'all gotta get it together. Y'all gotta, come on, man, this is it. You know, let's do this. Let's do this. You know, that video it's up on my page.
We would do that. I don't have class like at 7:30. Yeah, you know.
What I'm saying, you understand what's going on. You know what I'm saying? But these two brothers, they did not understand. They don't understand Arabic, right? But they know that they're like, I want to stand up, I'm going to do this. And they did it. Every single night they showed up and boy, you could see they were in pain when it got done though. Oh boy, you could see they were in pain. But they came back the next night and did it again. Well, I was like, man, mashallah, you two are my heroes. Like, seriously. Every night. I told them one night, I said, you know what helps me? You know, stand up at night a little bit. I said, carrot juice. Man, you remember the next night the brother came in with a thing of carrot juice like this big, but I was telling him that there's one problem with carrot juice is it makes you go to the bathroom a lot. And he found that out, so he didn't come back the next night with carrot juice again. But yeah, you know, so I mean, if they could do that, then come on, man. I told you, like Surah Al-Sajda and Surah Al-Insan, that was the normal salat of the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the lengthwise. In fact, the Sahaba said that was the length of the first rak'ah in Dhuhr. That the Prophet ﷺ would pray the first rak'ah in Dhuhr, the length of what it would take a person to recite Surah Al-Sajda. Alright, so come on, man. You know, the problem is like I said, we made things too easy for the people. And now we've just made like everybody now, where when it comes to the Deen, they want to do the very, very bare minimum. They don't want to, but boy, when it comes to the dunya, they're reading all these success books about you got to go the extra mile, and you got to be the first one to show up and the last one to leave, and they're ready to do that for the dunya. But we pampered the people too much with the Deen. No, the Prophet ﷺ used to pray dhuhr. Akhi, I told y'all. When I was in Damaj, I would go into dhuhr, and Sheikh Ahmed Wasabi, Allah yarhamu, when he used to recite, like, akhi, I would recite all of Surah An-Naba, and maybe a portion, like that little first half of Surah An-Nazi'at, before he went into ruku'. And dhuhr, on a common, that was every single day, akhi. Unless, maybe they had guests, like some tribe, maybe he might shorten it to like, where I would recite like Abasa. Like one page. I would recite a whole page and then he would go into ruku'. Never have I ever gone into salat, and never did I remember ever praying a salat in Damaj where it was like, well, asr. You know what I'm saying? Like,
One time I was praying out somewhere, let's just say, and we're in the first rak'ah of Dhuhr, I said, like, I was reciting وَالشَّمْسِ وَالضُّحَى وَالْقَمَرِ إِذَا تَلَاهَا, and then right after I said تَلَاهَا, Allahu Akbar.
At least you got that far. Well, I've prayed in so many different masajid in America, akhi, I can barely finish Fatiha. Seriously, I'm like, Ameen, Allahu Akbar. I'm like, dude, come on, man, this is the first rak'ah. That means that each rak'ah after this is going to be faster. So I got to get up, Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, Maliki Yawmiddin, just to catch it. Yeah, akhi, come on, man. That's what I'm saying. We're making the people too weak. Making the people too weak, especially with this Deen, and that's not what we aim to do.
Can you refute the people? Because I hear this only from
Yemenis. I already hate this.
Only from Yemenis I hear this. Well, I heard from a majority of Yemenis that I grew up with. The elders, not the young folks. Because the young folks don't know what that. So, like when I would tell the old folks, like, smoke shop's haram, this and that's haram, they would tell me, they would be like, yeah, you need to be easy. Islam, not everything was haram at one time in Islam, so we could take our time when it comes to leaving all the haram.
No, we'll talk about that later. That's that right there. That's a whole khutbah. That's a whole khutbah right there. What other questions before we go? Somebody, is it time for the adhan? I don't know, man. It looks like he's cherry picking.
No, because I was scrolling. It's just Abdul Malik, Barakallahu fihi, he keeps saying Ameen, Ya Allah, Ameen. And I keep scrolling and I can't find.
Gee, I wonder what he was saying Ameen
no,
to.
When you were given the...
I know, I'm joking. I know what he was saying Ameen to. Because he knows what he's saying Ameen to.
I know, man, me too. Because a lot of it is just people adding just comments, not questions, but just comments.
Yeah.
Okay. Questioner says, I was speaking to another and mentioned that I think Sha'ran, it's a new day because Maghrib came.
It is a new day. It's a new night, not a new day.
Shar'an or
Shar'an.
Shar'an. Oh, like Islamically. Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, what is Sha'ran? Like this whole...
Yeah, no, like right now, this is considered in Islam, this is Laylatul Arbi'a, the night of Wednesday, I guess you could say. And it's not just Islamic, it is Islamic, specific for Islam, because we're the only ones that do this now. But even amongst the kuffar, originally, they used to say this. That's why they say New Year's Eve, Christmas Eve, the eve of Christmas. It's because the night, the eve comes first and the day comes after that. Even they know that, but they don't practice it. So yeah, like right now, when we say Laylatul Jumu'ah, Laylatul Jumu'ah is what the kuffar consider Thursday night. But it's not Thursday night. Once Maghrib comes, it's a new day. It's a new night. It's the night of the next day. Yeah.
So let me reread the question correctly. It says, I was speaking to another and mentioned that Shara'an, it's a new day because Maghrib came. And they mocked me when I said Shara'an. What does this show?
Oh, so this had nothing to do with the day. This had to do with the usage of the word shar'an.
It says, what does this show, and does this show a sign of hypocrisy?
No, it shows it's a sign of ignorance amongst the people, at the very least. At the very least. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows what's in their hearts. You know. So, at the very least, this is just a severe error, ignorance. Yeah.
The name says, does this bell apply to sleeves? If so, should our sleeves not go past our wrist to our fingertips?
I don't know anything about that. I've never read anything in regards. We just read a hadith in Bukhari today where, you know, it said that the Prophet ﷺ had a jubba, and the jubba is known for what? Having a kummain, wasi'ain, so I don't know. Like very wide sleeves. So
if a father allows a haram event to take place in his home, will he bear the sin of every person?
Bila shak. Yes.
What does bila shak? I know what bila shak means.
Yeah, without doubt.
Yeah, okay.
Without doubt, because he's participating in it, even if he makes inkar on it, and he said this is haram, but go ahead, you can do it. You can use my house for it. No, he's still partaking in the ithm, because you making inkar on something and allowing it to happen, that's way worse than, you know what I'm saying. I mean, what can you say about that? You're like, this is haram, but then you allow it to take place in your own home, where you have, you know, kamil at-tasarruf, you know, like you have complete control. You know, whether this happens or doesn't happen. I can understand if, like, you say this is haram, and it's happening in your job, and you can't stop it because you're not the person in authority. That's something different, you know. You're making inkar, you're doing the wajib, but here in your own house, akhi, you're saying that this is haram, and then you're allowing the haram to happen. No, that's bila shak. That's aswa, you know.
Striving Slave says, can you make a video discussing life in Yemen? Things you saw Sheikh Yahya and his devotion.
I mean, right now, I am doing a series on the Patreon, right? You know, and I've been doing this for a while, but I've become very lazy. Not lazy. I mean, yeah, I've been lazy, really. Because, I mean, I can't say that, oh, I've been busy. Because, we get busy, but we're not busy 24 hours a day. We're not busy even 15 hours a day. But, you know, we like to make ourselves think that we are. You know, but we're not. So it's really laziness. I've been doing that series for a while, and right now, I just got to the part where I'm in Yemen. So I started the series. I didn't start from, like, way back when I first became Muslim. I started it when I got out, when I went to jail the last time or the second to last time. I'm not sure. I'm not sure where I started it. But I started it when I was like 18 years old. From there, and then we've been going on with the series for a long time. So that's been going on Patreon. So like right now, we're on in the videos, like literally the last video I did was about going through the airport in Yemen. In the first day of Yemen. So I haven't actually, no, the next video will be the first day of Yemen, inshallah. We wanted to record it one day, but my son's phone died, so we got to do it. I wanted to record it here. It's nicer on the couch. I go home, I'm not going to get it done, so I told him, I said, let's record it here, so that way I know I get it done, you know. But even like, I don't know, even with the durus with Bukhari, you see I've been like very lazy with putting them up, because I don't even want to deal with this stuff anymore. I need to hire one of my kids, like, here, y'all take it, you know, y'all take this. I got to get them a laptop and just like, here, y'all deal with this. I don't even want to deal with it no more. I'll just teach the classes, y'all put them up. I got two daily hadiths. Let me see. No, I put those up. But the last two Bukhari classes, today and yesterday, we still haven't even put them up. They're still sitting on this phone, inshallah. Yeah.
So, is there an opinion among the scholars of Yemen that considers a woman's voice to be awrah? If so, what's their evidence?
It's not that the woman shouldn't change her voice. Everything about the woman is awrah. But the woman, if she has to talk, she shouldn't soften her voice up. It's in Surah Al-Ahzab, but I can't, the ayah is not coming to my head right now. وَلَا تَخْضَعْنَ بِالْقَوْلِ فَيَطْمَعَ الَّذِي فِي قَلْبِهِ مَرَضٌ. Is that it? Yeah. ولا تخضعن بالقول فيطمع الذي في قلبه مرض وقلنا قولا معروفا. Alhamdulillah. That's Surah Al-Ahzab. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to the women, لا تخضعن بالقول, which means what? Like, don't soften your voices up. You know, like if a man comes to the house and he's looking for your husband, don't say, "Hi, how you doing?" You know, yes, no, he's not here. You know, but keep your voice normal. You know, but don't like soften up the voice. فَيَطْمَعَ الَّذِي فِي قَلْبِهِ. So then what happens is if you soften your voice, then the person who has sickness in the heart, what happens?
Did you say wala or fala? Fala.
فلا
Yeah, fala.
فلا
فلا تخضعن في
فلا تخضعن بالقول فيطمع الذي في قلبه مرض وقلنا قولا معروفا. So he said, so I mean, obviously the women are going to be in a situation where they have to. They're going to have to, like, speak to a man. If, like I said, in this scenario, the man comes to the house, her husband's not home, she's got to say something to him. You know, if she answers the phone, if she, she should keep her voice normal. She shouldn't soften the voice up because people have sickness. And then they hear a soft female voice, especially, like, you gotta understand, like, see, we're in a society, and I don't think a lot of people understand that. We're like in the sickest society that you could be in, right, in America. So, whatever you want to see and hear, you can just go out your house and you can see it all and you hear it all, and you know what I'm saying? But when you live in a society like a real strong, I want to say like Islamic society, because a lot of the people, they're not doing it because of Islam. They're doing it because of the taqalid, the qaba'il, and things like these things are ayib. If you go to Yemen, you will never hear a person, very rarely, you only hear a religious person say like something's haram. They're going to say what? This is ayib. And the same thing in Syria, right? Yeah, they don't say it's haram because they're not concerned with the deen. They're concerned with their customs and traditions. This is ayib. So you see when there's not a mixture of women, you'd be surprised, akhi, what changes start to happen with you. You see a woman's foot by accident and you can't get the foot out your head for like a month. You hear her voice by accident and she spoke real softly. You can't. That voice just sits up in your head like a recording, you know. So it's dangerous, you know. Even if you're not one of those people that has that sickness in your heart, but you just you know, you haven't, especially like, okay, us, we're going to have the sickness because we come from America. We're raised up with the sickness. And we don't realize how sick we are until we change the environment. And then we're like, oh my God, man, we are sick. Like, because I know when I first got to Yemen, I just grew up, you know, just whatever, women, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, I love women, you know, growing up. And then to go in that society now and sit there where it's like, there's no female interaction. I was going crazy for a long time. I'm not gonna lie. I just want to talk to her, like, please, man, just like give me a wife so I can just say something to a woman, please. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like, please, you know, I just want a wife just so I can, you know, just hear a woman's voice. You know, I'm tired of hearing dudes all day long. You know, but but I'm saying, you know, because this is because what we're raised up in. So, you know, for the women now, they soften their voices and they do things to get men's attention. They wear colors and all. I think that mess you up. That will mess a single brother up. Mess him up. So that should be avoided. The woman has to talk. She's in a situation where she has to talk. Obviously, she shouldn't be running around talking freely with dudes. But if she is in a situation she has to talk, she keeps her voice normal. Keeps it very basic, you know. Try to put some bass in the voice, you know, make it sound kind of like rougher, you know. Alhamdulillah.
Saying it right. This is the hadith about saying La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah lahu al-mulku wa al-hamdu wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir 100 times. This is only for the morning adhkar.
Yeah, the morning. It's the morning, because you have different adhkar that you say at night for that purpose. You know, you recite ayat al-Kursi before you go to bed. Recite the last 2 ayat from Surah al-Baqarah, and these get, you know, reciting ayat al-Kursi gives you the protection through the night. But this La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu lahul mulku wa lahul hamd wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir, reciting that 100 times in the daytime, it gives you that protection from shaitan all the way up until the night. Yeah. Amongst other benefits. That's one of the benefits of singing. Let's take 2 more questions and we're gonna go, inshallah.
Brother Jakarta says some female teachers upload their Zoom classes to YouTube where men can potentially access and listen to them. What's the ruling on this?
And the women should do, you know. So I don't know about Zoom. So I don't know because the only time I've ever used Zoom, I think one time. Did I ever use it? I don't even remember using it ever. I remember somebody, like, there was a masjid that contacted me when I was in Saudia, and they wanted to do a meeting, like an interview, and they wanted to use Zoom, but I don't think we ended up using it because I didn't know how to use it. But let me see. No, when I was teaching the class in Canada, I was using Zoom with the Canadian brothers. We were doing the explanation of. I think we were using Zoom. I'm not sure, but that's all. That's all my only experience with it. So I wasn't like the admin. I wasn't the person responsible for who could stay, who could leave. So I don't know. If you could delete the people and kick them out, then kick them out. You know, you just let them know that this is only for men. It's only for women, sorry. Well, for us, it's only for men. You know, it's only for women, and then the man. But see, the problem with this type of thing is that the men can come in under a username. It's a female username, and just sit there and be quiet. So, and the only way that you can really do this is to, like, okay, well, I want everybody to introduce themselves, you know, or something, you know, where now the man has to talk, but I don't know, like, but then you get some dudes that got some very effeminate voices that you know, and they could pass for a female. So it's kind of hard to avoid, but as much as you can avoid having that type of interaction, then it should be avoided. If you could kick them out, kick them out.
No, of course, you shouldn't use Zoom, because when quarantine was happening, me and people, I should say, we would make like fake usernames and go into people's classes. Just mess with the whole class.
He was one of those people I was reading about on the news when I was overseas. Yeah, see, he was doing that stuff. Go ahead, last question.
We would go and we would cause mayhem in the class.
Huh? I did that once. You did it once too?
No, but we were just a whole nother level when we did it. Like, we made the teachers scream.
Man, last question. We could discuss this going to get the food, man.
Teacher's like, he was like Shrek, but I don't know. Okay. Umar says, what is a good book for rulings of marriage and roles and responsibilities of a husband/wife?
Arabic or English?
Either.
Arabic, you got all the explanations of the. I mean, you got Tawdih al-Ahkam, which is the explanation of Bulugh al-Maram. You just go through the chapter on marriage and divorce. You got Nail al-Awtar, which by Shawkani, which is about you know, the explanation of al-Muntaqa. Go to the chapters on marriage and divorce and read what he said. As far as a specific book, I don't know. I don't read these books anymore, so I don't know. If I'm gonna read a book, I'm gonna read, like, you know, you got al-Mughni, you got all these books that you got Fath al-Bari that you can just read the chapters on marriage and divorce. I mean, I would prefer to do that than anything else because it's way more beneficial. But a lot of these, like these books that they put together, I don't know. I don't read these books. I'm working. I told y'all because I'm trying to put together like a three-part book on this issue in English. You know, so I'll be reading those books and I'll just give you whatever I get from those books. I'll just throw it in the book I'm writing. Because the first book, like I said, the first book is gonna be all hadith. The second two books, one is gonna be on marriage and one's gonna be on the issues of divorce. So inshallah, we're going to deal with all those issues that, you know, that the people talk about. So, and then, sadly enough, a lot of people, you know, in the West are going to realize that their marriages are invalid. So, Allah musta'an. That's the sad part, you know. And the sad part is that they're going to realize that the people that taught them about marriages, you know, are these imams that we spoke about yesterday. You know, the McDonald's ones. Yeah.
Walmart marriages.
No, I'm talking about the ones that couldn't run a McDonald's. They would bankrupt the McDonald's, but they've already bankrupted all of our masajid. Teaching false knowledge, teaching, you know, not teaching the sunnah. So we're already bankrupt anyway. So what's the McDonald's, right? All right, last question. Khalas, man.
Right. Ilyas Hussein says, what is the best method in striving against the nafs?
isti'ana billah. You know, like, you know, to seek assistance with Allah. The only one that can give you control of yourself is Allah. You know, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he made that dua every morning. You know, وَلَا تَكِلْنِي لِنَفْسِي طَرَفَةَ عَيْنٍ. Don't leave me to myself, you know, for the blinking of an eye. So if Allah, if our desires have control over us, then that means that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has left us to ourselves. So that's something that we need to fix. And the only way that you can fix that is to get back into the obedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and get away from His disobedience. Make tawbah and get back to reading Quran. Get back to, you know, and praying, you know, because the isti'ana, you know, tasta'in with what? Sabri was salat. You know, that you, with patience, because it requires patience. It's hard. Like, when you, you know, when you grew up a certain way, you know, even though it's wrong, it's sinful, and then you try to change it, it's painful, akhi. It's like losing your best friend, right? Because you're separating yourself from a habit, from something that you've grown up with. Like I said, when I went to Damaj and I was in that position, because I just, akhi, like I said, man, that was my fitna. It was always women. You know, it was always women. You know, but it's just like, alhamdulillah, over years, you know, you got to keep, what?
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, you got to keep fighting against yourself, akhi. That's a never-ending battle. You know, so it just got to the point now where it's just like, you know, these every single day, akhi, I probably, like, I don't know how many messages I get on Telegram. Not permissible. You know, I don't even try to, I'm not even opening up no conversation, because what? I don't want the fitna. Because I know what this fitna causes. But it's to separate yourself when you're accustomed to that type of behavior. And to separate yourself from it, akhi, it's hard. It's so hard. It's so painful. And the only one that's going to give you the strength to do it is Allah. You're not going to have the strength to do it. Because everything in your nafs is going to call you back to doing what? That was comfort for you. That was your comfort. Now you're disassociating yourself with what? That comfort. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if you're patient, will replace that comfort with what? Another comfort that's more comforting to you, that's in His obedience. But you have to be patient. If you're never patient, then you're never going to see what's on the other side, right? You're always going to be stuck on the low end of the stick, right? Where, you know, because this is, you know, being left to yourself, being left to your desires, akhi, this is the lowest of the low. And you never get to see what's beyond that. You know, you're just stuck here. You're on this low level. And for you to do that, it's going to require patience. It's going to take a struggle against yourself, a struggle every single day. Struggle every single day, because everything's going to call you back to that. You know, your nafs, shaitan, the people, you know, anywhere you go, it depends on what the sin is. If your sin's listening to music, you can't further escape that going outside in society nowadays, can you? You know, you go up and, you know, just, you know, an advertisement pops up with music blasting, right, all the time. You know, it's hard to escape these types of things if this is your fitna. And everybody has a fitna. Everybody has something. If you grew up in the West, in fact, if you grew up in the West, you don't have a fitna. You have a grab bag of fitna. You understand? It's like, which one do I start with first? But that's the thing. Focus on one thing, get it out of your life. Get that habit going. Break away from it. And then it starts to get easier and easier and easier as you go down. So some people, like I said, it's girls. Some people it's music. Some people it's weed or drinking or, you know, other things. Some people it's just like wasting their time on just foolish things. That they just, you know, have zero benefit whatsoever for them in the dunya or the akhirah. Whatever it is, akhi, you got to just make that separation. You know, it's like being married to a woman and you really love her, but you know that this marriage is not going to work. But you're just trying to hold on to it because why? You've been with the person so long that you what? That you're ready to go whatever problems we face, but we're together, right? Nah, akhi, you're sitting there punishing each other, and you're creating a toxic environment for children, for anybody that comes up in that environment because of what? Because you're trying to hold on to comfort. Sometimes you have to what? You have to face that discomfort, right? And cut it. You just cut the loss. Let it go. You know, and just go with the pain. Just, all right. So you're gonna feel pain for a month or two as you're gradually transitioning to this new existence of yours. But you gotta do it, and you have to force yourself. I mean, in the beginning, it's gonna take a lot of You can say it takes a lot of discipline, but it takes a lot of isti'anah, akhi. It takes a lot of you getting up praying and asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give you the discipline, to give you the strength to just stand up against this thing. It's the only way that you're going to achieve anything. And Allah knows best.